Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our third podcast at Wonderment, our Wonderment podcast. We are here at the Arboretum on Charing Cross Road in London. Very busy, hectic and humid outside, but right in here with our amazing flowers, living walls, floral ceilings. It's like a safe haven away from the bustling city. As I said in the last few podcasts, we're here with Wonderment. Wonderment is a brand where we bring all the best well-being practitioners from the world of mind, body and soul here every single week to basically give workshops, seminars, talks, all to help anybody who's on their path in any way, shape or form. As I've said before, people go to the gym sometimes every day, but people are forgetting about the rest of their all-round healing. So I'm really excited with today. We've got a superstar today. We've got a little bit of an audience, and I'm so pleased to welcome onto my panel, ladies and gentlemen, it's Janey Lee Grace.
Thank you. It's absolutely lovely to be here. I'm loving this wall.
Isn't it gorgeous?
I love one at home.
It just inspires you to want to bring outside in,
great.
Doesn't it?
It's great. It's a gorgeous venue.
And so thank you, because you come up from Hertfordshire.
Yeah.
That's where you live.
Yeah, come down
out in the countryside. Yeah. How's that? How's it coming when you come? Because you work here obviously every day. Janey is, of course, the fantastic Radio 2 DJ with I keep forgetting his name, Steve Wright.
Steve Wright in the afternoon. Yeah.
So you've got again, like us all, you know, we all have these very different tapestry of life where we have lots of facets, whether it's, you know, a very busy day job. But then what we're doing is we're bringing these other skills in order to be able to put on these great talks, have these. I mean, I keep calling it a crusade. I think, are you on a crusade to help these people?
No. I really don't feel like I am actually, because I think you come to a lot of this stuff, the stuff I'm talking about tonight, but actually any of the things we've been talking about with the Wonderment, I think you come to this stuff when you're ready. Yeah. And there's no point in trying to nudge anyone till they are ready, because they just won't hear you.
But it's so nice, and you know, you've got all these events all around town. So the last one you had was last week.
Yeah, we do events monthly called Self-Care for the Sober Curious, it's a very informal, and I just really want to kind of be there to inspire people who know that they want to look again at their relationship with alcohol, if you like. So we're kind of changing the conversation around alcohol. But it really is for everybody. So, you know, we're not going to check your bag at the door.
Well, this is it. And, you know, I myself, people know that I, in the past, have liked a drink or two.
And we all, sweetie.
And this is it. I mean, you've come from the world of entertainment. I come from the world of events, entertainment, comedy. And it's really hard, especially in London, when there's something on every night where you're invited to a soiree, a party, an opening, a viewing, and there's always booze around. And I just think, you know, I myself have gone through moments in my life when I've known I've drunk too much, whether I drink, you know, a small amount every day or I've had a big weekend. And we know it doesn't do us any good. We know it doesn't do us any favours. I've actually myself over the past, like, you know, done a few stints, you know, where I've had like 3, 4, my maximum 6 months off. And I do feel really good. I do feel amazing. I am more productive. I am getting out of bed with a clear head, with a clear vision of the day. And I just really wanted you to come today, I mean, even to help me, Janey, because I am there. I'm sort of really wanting to do it. But what happens with a lot of people in London and all around the world is that they think you either have to go to AA and submit and relinquish control and go down that route, or you have to suffer in silence. But what you're here to say is that is not the case.
No, absolutely. And you're absolutely right. That is the culture that we live in. This is what's ingrained in our society, that everybody drinks, and it's completely normal, and you start at 14 or 16 or whatever it might be, and then you carry on. And the kind of thinking, the perception that we all have to start with is that there are just two types of drinkers. We've been kind of brainwashed into thinking this. There's the absolute rock bottom alcohol dependent people who, most of us probably do not identify with at all, ever. And then there's everybody else who are allegedly very happy social drinkers. And then occasionally lightweight, you know, can't hold their beer. But then actually there's a huge number of people who were exactly where I was 18 months ago, waking up at 3 a.m. thinking, what have I done? again. I've had too much to drink. This doesn't fit with who I am. I don't feel authentic. I don't want to carry on like this, but I don't know how to stop. There's absolutely no way I would identify as that rock bottom alcoholic, because I'm not. But by the same token, I'm not also completely happy about where it's going. And for years and years and years, this was never spoken about. But now it is coming out. And, we do have the rise of the sober curious, which is a great phrase. The rise of mindful drinking, which is becoming much more part of our society. A lot of millennials are choosing not to drink at all.
They know best at this. They know something we don't know.
There's still quite a lot of drink. I mean, you can be forgiven for thinking that everyone's choosing not to drink. It's not quite as simple as that. But there definitely is a rise in popularity of people taking notice and recognising that it isn't rock bottom drinkers and everyone really happy. It's a whole spectrum. There was a great TED talk by Jolene Park called Grey Areas of Drinking. And that's the kind of phrase that I want to get across. I want to tell people about grey areas of drinking. And it doesn't matter where you are on that spectrum, or sometimes it's called the booze elevator. It doesn't matter where you are. You do not have to wait till you get to the bottom before you get off. Because effectively, if you're completely happy with drinking, if you're completely happy, if you can take it, leave it, drink, not drink, because some people are like that. They're completely happy with where they're at. Then you don't need this conversation. But there's a huge number of people who know that when it comes to alcohol, actually things tip up and they don't feel so great.
Yeah, but and not only that, you're not as productive, like I said, and I'm sure you can agree. Is it 18 months ago?
Yeah, 18 months, yeah.
I mean, the difference in your sort of daily productivity, what you can achieve. Since you've not been drinking, not only, of course, you do your radio job, but you've launched a podcast, you're doing talks, and as you said, you mentioned TED earlier, you've got your own TED Talk in a few weeks.
It's absolutely true. You don't realise till you stop drinking just how much it limits
potential you have, that
alcohol
you're limiting.
There's this great phrase, it's like alcohol steals your joy. Yeah. It actually steals your joy and it keeps you small. And when you're finally free from it, particularly for people who are on that kind of spiritual path, if you like, you can raise your vibration. Yeah. And suddenly you look back and you think, oh God, why didn't I do that years ago? Think what I could have achieved.
I think that's the thing, and that's why I think a lot of the youngsters, the millennials, are avoiding drink, because there's more information around. They're aware that they can raise the vibration. They're aware that they can create a limitless potential. And you're seeing them in the gym. You're seeing them Nail Life. They're all got these huge corporations via social media. Some of them are all millionaires, and they're opting not to go down that very dense kind of behaviour of drinking alcohol. That's right.
And of course we've seen as well loads in the press about celebs. There are so many sober celebs. They're all kind of crawling out the woodwork.
Started with Gwyneth.
Yeah, we've
got a big festival on the weekend.
We've always known about Elton John, obviously, and we've always known about the kind of the people that we think of as needing to get sober. But there's masses of celebrities who choose to be sober. They probably were never rock bottom either. But there's so many of them now. You can rattle them off, your Brad Pitt and your Kim Cattrall and your Kim Kardashian and your Zoe Ball and you on and on and on, and Russell Brand, obviously. And then you kind of look at this massive list of celebs and you think, oh, wow, that's why you look so good.
Well,
it's not just the work you've had done.
And that's why you're achieving so much.
That's why you look so good. That's how, exactly. That's how you managed to fly to Australia, do a gig and fly back, and you still look all right.
And so, so in the beginning, we're obviously going to talk about it in our session next, but when you first sort of made that decision, what was it? Was there anything that helped you in those beginning stages? Rather than I said, going to Alcoholics Anonymous every night, what was it that... just give a few tips on this podcast now. Obviously, you explain more on your own podcast, which is
Alcohol Free Life.
Alcohol Free Life. Do download that on Podomatic. It's brilliant. And what was it? Something in the beginning that someone...
Well, at the beginning, the kind of catalyst for me, if you like, because this had been going on for years, this kind of waking up at 3 a.m, knowing that something had to change, but having no concept of where I might go. Because I work in as a kind of holistic living expert, for want of a better word, I've tried just about every therapy going, and I do it as part of my work. So I'd have Reiki or kinesiology, aromatherapy, whatever. And every single treatment or therapy I ever had, if I felt safe with the therapist or the practitioner, I would, at the end I'd say, oh, and actually there is just something else, you know, I kind of think I'm drinking too much. Yeah. And in every single occasion, the answer was just, well, it seems perfectly normal to me. Because it is normalised. And nobody ever said to me, yeah, you're dead right, sweetie, you actually are, and you really need to deal with it.
Because you have to say it yourself.
So therefore, I felt completely alone. And so what changed it for me was when I picked up a book, or I was given a book, because we were interviewing an author on Radio 2. And normally when we're doing interviews, we get the book the author's written the night before if we're really lucky, sometimes not till the day. But in this case, it was just before Christmas. And so we were going off on a Christmas break, and then we were interviewing this author, Claire Pooley was her name, on the first day back of the January. So I was given this book called The Sober Diaries to read over Christmas, like over a 2-week break. I thought, that's interesting. Yeah. There's a sign then. So of course I had time to properly read the book, and that was what did it for me. It was like the light bulb came on. It was very relatable. She was a woman with kids, and busy woman with kids, and there were lots of similarities in the story, and I thought, wow, this is a challenge to me now, and I'm going to actually have to do something. And if she's been able to do it, maybe I can. So that was what made me make the initial decision, and I initially just decided, okay, I'll not drink till Claire comes in for her interview, which was about 5 days. And then when Claire comes in for her interview, I'll have a little chat to her. And of course I did. And she said, well, you know, just carry on and do dry January. It happened to be January. So that was kind of my first little challenge for myself. What I would say is that now, looking back, I realised that what I actually needed was a lot more support. Not just Claire, she was fabulous, but I actually needed much more support, and I know that now. But at the time, I didn't realise it was available. So I was actually keeping it secret. I kept it secret for a full 3 months from anybody apart from Claire, which is mad.
Because we live in a society where it's, you know, it's normal to drink every night. You know, you
Absolutely.
go to a pub, if you're not drinking, your friends are like, why are you drinking, you weirdo?
Well, there's that great phrase, alcohol
shame.
is the only drug you have to justify not taking. Yeah. And then if you do come out, you're fearful of being sober shamed and people, you know, making you feel like that, you know, you had a massive problem. When I eventually told somebody, I don't know, 6 months in, she said, oh dear, have you dried out yet? Please. And of course the classic thing is for someone to say, oh dear, did you have a problem? You know, or have you got a problem? And actually the answer is no, I haven't now. Have you? So yeah, there's a lot to navigate, but the top line would be to say, you know, gather yourself some sober tools and make connections, because it's all about getting support in whichever way that works for you. And for some people, meeting with others works. For some people, just being online. I just got to be part of an online community. And then suddenly it was like the world opened up to me, and I suddenly realised that there are dry bars, and there's amazing alcohol-free drinks available, and there's sober meetups, and there's incredible influencers on Instagram who organise events, and there's dating apps, and there's sober karaoke, and it goes on.
There's so many things, you know, especially in cities like London, you know, theatre and wellbeing events like, you know, like these, and you know, and you find yourself getting more into sport because you're healthier and you've got more time. And you've also got your very own award ceremony that's going to be basically celebrating all of that. People that are...
Well, it's holistic living generally. So I look at kind of products and services. I've been doing that for many years, but actually I have now incorporated a category for alcohol-free drinks, because I thought, why not? Let's celebrate that, because there are some amazing alcohol-free drinks out there now. And who'd have thought that? I mean, a few years ago, if you tried an alcohol-free wine, it was just hideous. It was just like, you know, hideous vinegar.
There's some alcohol-free beer that actually doesn't taste non-alcoholic.
There are some amazing beers. There's a Mindful Drinking Festivals. The next one is July the 20th in London. And they have them in Glasgow. And so they're actually, when you start to kind of get into this world, there's a ton of stuff going on, and it's actually really exciting. So you actually don't need to feel that shame that I felt. You definitely don't need to hold yourself up. You do need to do some prep, though. I mean, I don't want to kind of try and give the impression that everything's super easy and you just slip straight into it, because you know, it's tough at the beginning, as most things worth doing are, in fact.
Well, okay. Well, in summary, I want to say thank you so much for doing the great work, and I'm going to go back to the word crusade, because when I say crusade, I mean a crusade and just making sure that information, that support is out there. You know, you're doing all these great, fantastic events, such great awareness through social media and your podcasts, and I know that it's probably very inspiring to a lot of people, including myself. So please, please take that wonderful, appreciative compliment and keep going.
Thank you. I will. Thank
and
you.
I'm so glad that you're here today with our Wonderment peeps. We're going to be doing an amazing talk and workshop Q&A and interview now, sipping our magnificent mocktails and juices. And yes, so thank you very much. Good luck with all the future projects. Good luck with TED Talk.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see that come out. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Chris Fitzhugh, Wonderment, and Janey Lee Grace. Thank you so much.